Hey guys, welcome back to the channel. My name is Derek. Today's topic of discussion has to do with respect. What is it? What does it look like? Do we actually earn it? Are we getting it? Or is everybody in your life really actually showing you respect? And are you really, truly, honestly showing everyone respect? So the reason that I want to bring this up is partly due because I just did a video regarding honesty, and honesty, being honest with people, being honest with ourselves is one of the highest forms of respect we can ever bestow upon to another person. And when we allow people to come into our lives who aren't exactly the most honest, what we're doing is we're going to end up compromising our values and our beliefs in order to accommodate those people into our lives. And when we do that, we're not really showing ourselves a great level of respect. And this is something that we definitely want to make a change in. So I just want to give an example using my life as to when I was presented with a situation and I wasn't being given the respect because this person wasn't being completely honest, and how this would lead down a path of what would become a constant repetition of behavior that I would have to deal with. So many years ago, I was introduced to a woman who I found very attractive, and over the course of the next few weeks of my courting her, what I would come to find out is that she was involved with someone else. She was dating another guy, and when I asked her why she wasn't why she hadn't told me this, her response was that she was afraid that if I knew the truth, that it would alter my choice or decisions, which is true. However, when she was being dishonest and disrespectful, because the reason why she was being dishonest is because ultimately she didn't want me to make a sound decision about that particular situation. She was basically taking away my right to choose by not providing me with the actual facts of the situation. And this is where the disrespect comes in, because what she was ultimately trying to do was trying to get me to make a decision that she felt would completely benefit her in the long run. And unfortunately what happens is that I, of course, at this time chose to kind of ignore that and not really understand that, you know, if she was lying to me, she was obviously lying to the guy that she was dating. And so she's showing disrespect not just to me, but to him. And while nothing ever came about that situation, like I never had to deal with anything too dramatic with regards to that, when our relationship continued, it just became a pattern of constant dishonesty and disrespect, which made it very hard for me to want to be able to trust this person. And unfortunately, my emotional attachments, which grew, kept me involved in a situation that just wasn't healthy. And so what we need to understand is that when it comes to respect, if we don't respect ourselves and understand that when people are being dishonest with us, that the likelihood is that they're going to be dishonest, disrespectful, and untrustworthy with everybody that they're involved with. So eventually what happens is when they're disrespecting someone else, or when you think that they're just disrespecting someone else or being dishonest or about another person, eventually it's going to come back onto you. And this is where a lot of people will tolerate this behavior, because when they're dealing with another situation, oh, it doesn't affect me, it doesn't hurt me, it's not my problem. Maybe that person that they're doing something bad to deserved it. Maybe they're not a good person, so that makes it okay. And what we're doing is we're condoning that very behavior, and we're lying to ourselves and we're lying to them, because we're basically saying that's okay. you can do that. You can keep disrespecting me and everybody else in your life, and everybody else is just going to tolerate it. And when it finally does come to us, we have to really remember what it's like to feel what it's like to have somebody do that to us. Because when we're condoning their behavior regarding another person, we're basically saying that that person doesn't matter. And that's a very selfish attitude to have, that, you know, people can just run around and disrespect everybody else, but if they disrespect me, then then there's a price to pay, or there's a problem. And when we do this, we're just basically allowing these people to, and we're just promoting bad behavior. And this is something I see a lot of too, and this is something that I have a friend who's in a situation like that, where she was going through a divorce, and one of her guy friends had decided that he was going to profess to her that he had been secretly wanting to be with her for many, many years, and he's married. And the problem wasn't that. The problem became that when she told him that she wasn't going to have anything to do with him in that retrospect, he didn't accept that. And so he continued to try to play the friend role, but he was still trying to push that other idea onto her that he wanted to be together. And again, this is another act of disrespect, because he wasn't really accepting her choice. He wasn't accepting her answer. He wasn't accepting that was the way it was, and that he needed to change his attitude towards it. Now, that again is not the initial problem, because really what happened is my friend maintained her friendship with this individual, and here he had now disrespected his own wife. And she kept, again, she's trying to be his friend, he wants something else, and so by maintaining that relationship, she was condoning that this behavior was acceptable. And eventually it came back to the point where it blew up, and she ended up on the receiving end of a lot of BS and nonsense. And so what we have to understand is that first we must learn to respect ourselves, learn to respect you, learn to realize that you don't tolerate other people's bad behavior, even if they're putting it onto somebody else. And when we do that, and when we're honest with people, you're not necessarily going to earn their respect, but you're going to remove those people, and you're going to have an understanding of what kind of people you're involved with and why you need to remove them completely from your life. And so this is where we tend to get emotionally attached to a lot of people, where we think loyalty has something to do with it, and it really doesn't, because these people aren't as loyal to you as you think you are. If we made a list of what is required to be involved and the mutual respect that must go both ways, you're going to find that a lot of these individuals are not living up to that. And so again, if you don't remove them, you're condoning their behavior. If you don't tell them the truth and at least try to help them realize their mistakes, you're just doing a disservice to yourself. And so I want you guys again to really take some time to really think about all these aspects, not just in romantic involved relationships, but just even in friendships and acquaintances, and really understand that if we continue to condone people's behavior, it's eventually gonna come back on you. And this is part of where people get stressed out and get worried and start to get confused, because you start to wonder whether or not, you start to wonder why these people are doing it. You start to wonder who else is doing it. You start to get paranoid about whether or not in the long run, people are going to respect you. And really, it has to do with the fact that you've condoned bad behavior. And a big part of it has to do with the fact that we ourselves do not always show 100% respect, even if it's to somebody you've never met and might not ever meet. And there are situations where that comes about, where you're maybe hearing something bad about someone and you're just saying, oh, that person sounds really horrible, but yet we don't know anything about that person. And so we're showing disrespect to a person just because somebody said that we should. And that's not something we want to do either, because we all know what it's like to have rumors and stories be told about us, and the conflict and the drama and the negativity that comes with that. And we want to remove ourselves from such actions. And again, it starts with the utmost respect for yourself, to know that you don't have to tolerate everybody else's bad behavior, especially when it doesn't directly affect you, or you don't think it directly affects you, because eventually it will. And that's where conflict starts. So again, take some time out, think about these things, and understand that there's a better way. And so I want you guys to make sure that you're leaving questions and comments down below. Make sure you're checking out the other videos, and and any help that I can give. If you have specific questions and concerns, I'm here. So make sure you guys are doing that, and make sure you guys are subscribing as well, and we'll see you in the next video.